Walk in the front door. There is a smell.
Walked in, everything is going great. And we hear a crash. Completely crushed my client's car. Just boom.
We had factual evidence that they knew about it because we found the engineer they worked with and all this. So they knew about it. They tried to hide it. Something you should either have this room locked or you need a heads up.
Okay.
I did not have a heads up. I'm like, look, I didn't know. Like, there's nothing I could do. But
What
we
was
walk into this room, and it is like a complete. There are things you have to turn on. There are things that like.
No. He's like in his room with like beer cans everywhere. I thought I was getting along with this guy okay, and I thought he was being cooperative. And I hear him talking to someone on the phone, and he says, "If you don't tell him to leave, I'm going to kill him." All right, we're going to have a little fun this week. We've sourced, we're going to talk about real estate horror stories.
Okay.
So we've sourced questions from social media of that from our agents that are in our private group and some other places as well. So we're going to ask questions about horror stories and our experiences. So I've got them here. I'm going to draw them, and then we're going to answer these questions. All right, so.
Nice Agent Bridge cup you've had him.
Thank you very much. Yes, if you come to Six Figure School and you give us a review, you get one of these.
Nice.
All right, okay. First question. What is the most horrific thing you discovered at the final walkthrough? That's from Stephanie in Nashville.
I've got one. Do you have one?
Okay, no, go ahead.
Final walkthrough. Walk in the front door. There is a smell. Pretty significant smell.
I'm already worried.
Horrific smell.
Okay.
And we're looking at each other like, actually, I'm worried because I'm like, oh, this smell is bad enough to walk away.
Oh no! Like, by the way, like in the walkthrough, I'm like, let's get this thing over with.
I know
as quickly as possible.
Please,
to
nothing
the
happened.
Table. Right.
A dog had pooped, and a robot vacuum had come through the dog poop and dragged it into every room of the house.
Oh no! So you had dog crap in every room in the house,
carpet,
and rubbed in.
Rugs, carpet, tile, hardwood. This robot had almost made it back to its home and was just ramped up on this like pile. And luckily,
excuse me.
You
sorry.
okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Luckily, we got past that. They offered to professionally clean the home, which I thought was a solid offer, and we took it and we moved on for that.
But the robot had ramped up on the pile.
I guess it was just pushing across the whole house. It was terrible. Luckily, it was just something that could be cleaned up. But and they were okay with pets. I've had some clients that are adamant that they don't want to purchase a home where a pet has lived.
Yeah.
And most of them are, owning pets. I don't want to categorize people, but owning pets in the South is pretty common.
It's very common.
And I would say more often than not, you like northeastern states or further west where you live in such areas where it's very difficult to have a pet. Like you've got like high rises or whatever.
Right.
I get it. And you're not used to it. I get it.
Right.
Not a huge pet fan. I mean, we have pets.
Yeah.
I love our dog, but man, it's just a lot. It's a lot to deal with. So I get it. But anyway,
did they were they at least laugh about it, or were they just horrified?
They weren't laughing. That's what had me worried. I said, look, we'll take care of this. This is something that can be resolved.
Yeah.
And I said, if they won't pay or actually I didn't say that. I said, I'll get a professional cleaning done. And if you're not happy with the results, we can do something then. And honestly, I didn't have to because the sellers offered to do
I'm sure they were horrified. The sellers were probably
you know what though? It seemed like this wasn't the first time that had happened.
You're kidding.
No. They were not surprised.
Yeah.
Not as surprised as I would have thought.
Oh my gosh.
That actually worried me a little bit more.
If I was selling my house, I would be horrified if that happened.
I would too.
God. Okay. All right. Next question. Okay. Has a structure. This is from Drew in Miami, Oklahoma. It's spelled Miami, but you pronounce it Miami.
Oh, there's some places like that in Middle Tennessee, like Santa Fe. You can't say Santa Fe.
Lebanon. Okay. Has a structure ever
Murray
fallen or crumbled while you were showing a house? No, but.
No, but.
I was showing a house in a historic neighborhood with huge trees. Okay. So think of like 100-year-old sycamore trees.
No, I got
like
you. I'm with you.
Massive hickory trees. Right. So my client we were showing this like really cute bungalow that had just come on the market, like 1,300 square feet, fresh on the market. We walked in, everything is going great. And we hear a crash. And I turn around and the biggest tree branch you can think of completely crushed my client's car.
Nice.
Just boom, like on the top, like dented it in, like the roof or the hood of it, the roof of it too, like dented it in, glass everywhere. It was a disaster.
They didn't buy that house, did they?
She did not buy that house.
Omen.
But she did laugh. She goes, yeah, that's a bad omen. She goes, oh my gosh. And she started laughing. And so anyway, because you have like an option, there's something like an insurance that what's that called? You have to like get
actually the seller's home insurance could have covered it as a payment that happened on your property, but they probably went through their own, if I had to guess.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember, but I think she had, because sometimes like you can opt, like if you're getting car insurance, you can opt not to get like a tree branch falling on your car.
Yeah.
However.
Yeah, like non collision based damage or something.
Right, something like that. But anyway, yeah, I think fortunately she had the insurance covered, but I just couldn't believe it, how big that branch was and how much damage it did.
Yeah, I mean, worst thing I've had is stepping through a deck board or something.
Yeah.
Like it's not collapsing or anything like that.
All right. This is actually a funny one. This is from one of my clients in Oklahoma, Tammy. Have you ever had a seller in prison?
Never had that.
She sent this as a joke, I'm sure. But basically, so here's what happened. First of all, it's a very difficult transaction. The sellers were really difficult. I had the buy side. It was a for sale by owner. So I'm kind of like having to not officially, but unofficially pull both sides together, right? So we get to about a week before closing. We've gone through all of the inspections, all that stuff. We get to about a week before closing and we find out. So first of all, this is an inherited property. There are 4 heirs, 3 brothers and a sister. The sister is the kind of the kingpin. She's running the show. And we find out that one of the heirs is in prison.
Oh, nice.
And not like the jail. They're like in prison where we have a 10-minute window to get signatures. So we had to get a remote notary to go into the prison and make sure that they were there during this 10-minute window so we could get these signatures signed, because if we didn't get it done during the 10-minute window, it was going to be another 30 days. That's how bad of a prison it was.
Is it going to be like in the hole after that or what?
I don't know, man. It was crazy. Anyway, we were able to get it done, but I just remember how much stress there was around this prison situation. So
I've had a divorced client where the spouse went to prison, but it had nothing to do with the transaction. So that one's interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Next question. All right. What is the worst thing that ever came back on a regular inspection? And that's from Aaron in Murfreesboro.
Worst thing. Worst one I've got is a sinkhole.
Okay. A sinkhole like on the property.
On the property. Almost on the driveway.
Jeez.
Yeah, so they're fairly common here. I mean, you're from Oklahoma, dude.
Well, yeah, we didn't have sinkholes really in Oklahoma like they do here, but I know like my son went to visit the Corvette Museum in Kentucky, which is about the museum's like 3 hours from here. And they had lost half of the Corvette Museum previously due to a sinkhole.
Yep.
And the Corvettes are still down there. And so sinkholes are a huge deal here.
Yep. My son went to a field trip there as well. And yeah, same situation. That one was nuts. I'm assuming that this sinkhole was not to that level. The interesting thing is the we had underground propane tank and septic on this property.
Okay.
And the underground propane tank was on top of the sinkhole. They had remediated it. They dug it out, filled it, not the sellers, but an engineer, dug it out, filled it up with rocks, and then put concrete in it and then covered it back up.
Okay, but why did it take you said they discovered this during the inspection?
They did, and in fact, the sellers had already filled out a property condition disclosure and said that they weren't aware of any sinkholes. I'm assuming they did this because it was remediated, but
Still, we had to tell people that there was a sinkhole and we fixed it.
We had factual evidence that they knew about it because we found the engineer they worked with and all this. So they knew about it. They tried to hide it. Made my clients uncomfortable.
Where did they think that they would get away with hiding a sinkhole?
I mean,
we're crying out loud.
Great question. I mean, it's on all the plats and everything. Sure. And this was a type of neighborhood where you do look at the plat because my clients wanted to put in a pool. So I'm grabbing the plat. I'm looking, we can't put in a pool because the septic's in the backyard. The fill lines are in the backyard. So, and then we see sinkhole clearly on the plat.
Unbelievable.
You know, what's funny is the same people who signed the PCD saying there was no sinkhole sent us the plat. We were like, hey, do you guys have a copy of the plat?
You didn't know about this sinkhole?
Yeah.
You just forget?
Yeah. And they're like,
oh my gosh.
So they sent us a copy of it, and clear as day it was
lucky
on
they didn't get sued. Because if you close on that and find it after, a failure to disclose, man, that's crazy.
Yeah.
What's the lesson from that? Always disclose.
Yeah, no kidding.
If you've got, okay. Well, let me just finish that point. It's always better because sellers will call you about disclosing things. And I get that there are some things that are kind of on the fence, right, about disclosure. But it's better to err on the side of disclosure because those things can come back and haunt you if you don't.
You know what's funny about that one?
What's that?
My clients still might not have bought the property due to the fact that you couldn't put a pool in the back. But if we had gotten a call that said, hey, just want you guys to know, or it was in the PCD, there was a sinkhole. We had it fixed. Here's all the paperwork from the engineer who did the work. Give him a call if you want. My clients would have been like, cool.
Exactly.
But the fact that we found it later, we're like, all right, something's up here. Mm-hmm. Why would you not say it if everything was cool?
Yeah. Yeah, just disclose. Okay, what's the worst busted deal you've had? Okay, I have one for this.
I've got one where it was just like kind of a dumb reason.
Okay, let me hear it. What's yours?
A guy from Texas was buying a house. His daughter was the one that was doing, and actually I was on the seller side, so I was representing the sellers. His daughter was doing the showings, and my wife was actually letting her in the house, even though we were representing the sell side, because we were actually going to get both sides on this one. Yeah. And so she's showing him around, or showing the daughter around. He's doing virtual. It's kind of during COVID, so that was pretty normal. And we're under contract. We're 2 weeks from close. He does not have a clause in there that says anything about I need to see the property or anything like that. But we did give him a little bit of an extension on the inspection window because he was going to come see it. So same difference really. And he gets there and he's like, it's hard to turn left out of the neighborhood, so I'm not going to buy it. And we're like, okay.
To make a left turn. Why? Because of traffic or something?
Yeah. I'm like, you know how many left turns you're going to make on your way to work, buddy?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Welcome to Tennessee.
Yeah.
Goodness gracious. Okay. Well, I have one too. So I had this at the time. This is like 2011, 2012. I think I just kind of started full time in real estate, was getting some things going. And I sold the biggest house I had ever sold before. It was like $1 million sale. And in Oklahoma at that time, that's huge, right? And I'm like, I am set. Like, this is going to be the best year ever. I did this before Christmas, right? I'm like, we're going to be great. It closes like January 15th. It's like fantastic.
I mean, $30,000.
Right. So it's Christmas weekend. I'm at my parents'. It's actually Christmas Eve, and we're about to go back home because my parents are in Texas. And I get a call from my client. They go, hey, we're not going to buy this. And I was like, wait, what, why? And they're like, well, he's like, after the inspections, it's just really, we don't want to pay that much for it and this and that and whatever. And it was the worst feeling, like completely ruined my Christmas. I remember calling the listing agent and told him, he's like, oh, Merry Christmas. But it was an awful feeling. I remember that. The deal actually ended up coming back together in February. But just that time frame of like,
people are stressed.
Yeah, I'm stressed. I'm going into Christmas. I've got 4 kids. Like, this is the money I needed, to make it to start the year off. And so it was a terrible feeling.
Yeah. I feel like busted deals are slightly more common right now because the interest rates are so high. And I feel like during inspection, people are looking for a reason not to do this.
So for sure. All right. Next question. Okay. What do you do if a hailstorm rolls in during your inspection?
Yeah, not really a Tennessee thing.
So Matt in Oklahoma City.
That's more you.
And I know this agent. And I'm guessing that probably happened because it is May. And in Oklahoma, in May, you're puckered, right? If you've got something under contract, because the likelihood that a hailstorm is going to come through, right? Wind damage, hopefully not a tornado, but there's so much that can go wrong during the month of May because of how strong the storms can be. So what I have found, I've had, and this has happened, I've got a couple of houses under contract, hailstorm hits the city. But I got so good at this because it was like that for 3 years in a row. It was real bad, where basically my process was file a claim immediately.
Yep.
I knew a great roofer, right? So I had a roofer lined up, file a claim immediately, have the roofer meet the adjuster out there. And then basically from that point moving forward, we could still close on time because you have 30 days after closing to finish whatever insurance work has a claim made on it.
Yep.
So they can still close and then to get the new roof.
Yeah. I've run into insurance claims that, go past closing. You do have 30 days, so that's good.
But I can tell you, during that time, in Oklahoma, there were companies, insurance companies pulling out. Geico was like, I'm out of here. There were several national insurance companies that said, we just are not going to insure in Oklahoma anymore.
Florida's running into that right now. There's so many companies that are leaving Florida. It's a very tough insurance market. In fact, there's several states where it's not just a layup to get insurance. Here, we take that for granted because we don't have a lot of natural disasters. Right. We're insulated. But, there's a lot of states people are moving here from. They're like, how hard is it to get insurance? Because where I'm from, you can apply for it and you may or may not get it, which means you don't close on your house.
And in Oklahoma, I owned a house for 4 years and replaced the roof twice. That's how bad it was at that time.
Yeah.
Crazy. All right, next question. Have you ever had a squatter? This is from Melinda in Chesterton, Indiana.
I have personally never had a true squatter.
Okay. I haven't.
I have known a couple people who have land that they want to sell that there was a squatter on the land. But the only kind of fringe thing that's happened to me in the squatter space was, we get to the closing table and the sellers aren't packed up and ready to leave.
Yeah.
And so, at this point, we're there, it's closing day. Mm-hmm. They're like, sorry guys, we can't go. And, they're like, you can bust the deal, but we are just not ready to go. And so luckily my clients were very understanding and we worked through a temp occupancy agreement, but very unique situation. It just lets you know that, hey, look, you make sure that you're checking in with the other side as you're getting closer and closer.
Yeah, they said, sorry guys, you can bust the deal. That's an example of how emotional thinking. That's not even rational thinking.
That's not even rational thinking. Yeah. But here they are. They're not packed up. They're not ready to go. And
right.
We actually gave them, I think it was 3 weeks to get everything wrapped up, and they actually compensated back for it, knowing that they had put my clients out, which was great.
Yeah.
But still not ideal situation because we've run into this even in our own brokerage. Temp occupancy agreements are also not layups because clients can leave it in disarray. Mm-hmm. They can take things. They can.
They're moving stuff out. They can damage it when they're moving stuff. Yeah.
They're treating it like they're gone.
Yeah.
And
they're not really doing upkeep on it. So, the longer those occupancy agreements get strung out, the more opportunity you have for something to go wrong.
I don't love them. I hate doing them. I mean, obviously there's situations where if you need to win a deal and that they need the extra time, but they also need the cash to go find something, they're a solution. I don't love them. There's so many things that could go wrong.
Me either. All right. Next question. Let's see here. This is from Janice in Tecumseh, Oklahoma. What are your nightmare stories of dealing with tenants and showings? Okay, so I have one real recent.
Okay.
Where it was an older lady whose son had she wanted him to leave and he wouldn't leave.
I remember this one.
Okay. And I thought I was getting along with this guy okay, and I thought he was being cooperative. But he had some mental illness, and so he could like put on a front for a little bit, but it got crazy. And where it sort of came to a head is I'm like, hey man, I'm going to do an open house this Sunday if that's okay with you. Yeah, no problem. And I'm in the open house, and I walk in and he's there. He's like in his room,
just
scrolling on his phone,
just chilling
with like beer cans everywhere. And I'm like, oh, this isn't good. And I'm like, I've got to do this open house, but I'm like, this is not a good situation. And I hear him talking to someone on the phone. And he says, if you don't tell him to leave, I'm going to kill him. Right. And so he was like, I was like, dude, I'm out of here. Right.
No,
it was crazy.
Nothing else needs to be said.
Yeah, exactly. And the problem was like, I could not at that point, like I realized in this scenario, I can't in good conscience let people like show this house because it's a wild card. Right. And obviously he's got some like pretty strong mental illness. He threatened to kill me. And then he started kind of being very difficult. And so what was interesting about it is the seller was mad at me. Like I'm like, look, I can't recommend or open your house for showings, first of all, because he won't leave. And secondly, because I can't in good conscience send people over in that situation because I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a night. It was a nightmare.
Was the seller a little older, something like that maybe?
Yeah.
Incapacitated in some form?
Yeah, she was incapacitated in some form.
Yeah, so I mean, she was struggling, and she was mad at me, quote unquote, but there was probably some medication stuff going on. Sure. But I mean, she's generally a really nice person, but it was just this insane scenario. And I've never been like, my life has never been threatened before, but he like, did you end up walking away from that listing or did you?
Yeah, I let that one go. I was like, yeah. And as a matter of fact, the next two agents called me, said what happened, and they said, oh, I'm not doing that. Because I was like, yeah, I just told them.
So they burned through 3 agents now?
Uh-huh. Well, there were 2 other agents that were going to take the listing and said,
no, gotcha.
Right. Until this guy's gone. Because you just can't sell it.
So what's the deal now? It's still not
sold. Anybody want it? All right. All right. Next question. What's the scariest / wildest thing you've ever experienced at a showing?
Scariest / wildest.
Scariest / wildest thing.
I don't have anything. What do you have?
I don't know that I have anything either. I'm just trying to think through it. I mean, I've walked into places where people like were sleeping, right? That's kind of crazy. Scary.
Oh, I've got one.
Uh-oh.
That one took a minute because I tried to block it out.
Okay.
Oh, gosh. I've got one. I don't even know if
I can see it on your face.
Is this a kid? I mean, is this kid-friendly show? Because I don't even know if I can tell this one.
I don't know. I don't think any kids listen to it. But
well, look, pause it if you're in the car with your children, okay? Because this one's crazy.
It's not family friendly.
It's not family friendly. Okay. So pause. Everybody, I'm going to give you a minute to pause.
No, right. I'm worried.
Okay. I walk into this showing, and I was not warned by the listing agent. And I feel like this is something you should either have this room locked, so that you can't go in it, or you need a heads up.
Okay.
I did not have a heads up. So I'm showing these clients who are so far from understanding what we're about to walk into, like are completely devastated. And I'm like, look, I didn't know. Like, there's nothing I could do. But we walk into this room, and it is like a complete sex room.
Okay.
I mean, there are like places to be bound to the wall. There are like swings.
Gosh, like
there are like devices.
No.
There are like
they just left this stuff out.
Left it out, and I'm talking like
I would like have to take a shower.
I don't even know how else to word the devices.
Don't.
But like, there are things you have to turn on. There are things that like
no.
And there are cameras, and I'm like, I'm like, I've touched the doorknob.
Been mortified.
I've touched the doorknob and I'm like, I'm backing out of this room. I'm like trying to find hand wash. I'm like,
oh my gosh.
We couldn't get out fast enough. And I could not believe what I was looking at. I was like,
why would somebody not remove that stuff?
Or lock the door and just be like, hey, there's one room you guys can't go in or something. Or remove it would be the better option.
That's on the listing agent.
The whole house.
The listing agent should have said something.
Yeah. Yeah. The whole house was completely normal. Like you walk in and it would be like you're walking into a normal home. The table was set, like the decorations were normal. And then you turn the corner and walk in this room and you're like,
oh my gosh.
All right.
Okay. So that's crazy. So listing agents, if you got a crazy room, lock it or tell us.
Yeah. And
crying out loud.
I mean, I've had other ones where like a bunch of dolls in the room and one of them had them all set up on this like thing to look at the door. So you walk in and you're like, a bunch of dolls are staring at you and you're like, what is happening? So yeah, but that other room was like next level.
I wouldn't even know what to do. I would have just like left immediately. I was like,
we did. Oh yeah, we did.
Anyway. I did have one where I was showing houses and we're upstairs, right? And we open a door to a closet and two little kids come out, right? And my clients freaked out.
It's like children of the corn stuff right there.
Yeah, exactly. And what happened is it was like a divorce situation and this is where the dad's house, but dad had the pool. And so the kids rode their bikes down the street from mom's house to come play in the pool and hang out and play video games. And then all of a sudden the showing's happening and they decide to hide in the closet.
That's crazy.
And, but my clients were freaked out. But to this day, I still, like if I'm showing a house, the first thing I do is knock on the door and I go, hey, anybody home? Realtor showing, right? So I say that to this day.
We do that too.
Yeah. All right. Next question.
God, man, I thought I had that completely blocked out, and you brought it back.
How many cash scams have you had? That's from Michelle in Woodward, Oklahoma.
All right, as a lender, I'll take this one if that's okay.
Okay, sure.
This is real. Like this happens. There is a person who's been put in prison in Tennessee for doing this to elderly people. Like this happens all the time, and this is why every lender you see has a notice at the bottom of their email that says like, do not accept wiring instructions from just anyone, call and verify. This is why they have you sign, wire fraud warnings for your brokerage or whatnot. Like it happens all the time. But more than once, I've had clients who, as we're getting close to the closing day, have received wiring instructions from a party that's not relevant to the transaction and a bank that it shouldn't be going to, and it looks completely legitimate.
Like total, like straight up wire fraud.
Straight up wire fraud. The only thing it would be missing that would, for me to say like, hey, that's a little suspicious is an amount. Like you need to wire this amount. But like it'll be like, here's the wiring instructions for your closing coming up and on the correct day and all of that. And all they would have to do is set up that wire, send it. And if you guys don't know, if you're listening, if you don't know, once that wire is sent, it's gone. You can tell the FBI, you can tell anybody you want, and that money's not coming back. Now, some banks are instituting like a pause on the money so that it can be recovered, but that's not completely rolled out yet. It's not done, and it's kind of defeats the purpose of a wire because the beauty of a wire is it's instantaneous. So like, you can fund and you can get your keys and you can move on.
Right.
So there's a lot of title companies that are putting security measures in place where the wire instructions have to be, sent through certain mechanisms to make sure that they're correct. But the best thing to do, you as the agent, make sure your buyers not receive the wire instructions. Call the title company at the posted number on Google, not the number it says in the email, but on the posted number on Google. Call the number and verify the wire instructions over the phone, and then send the wire because they look legitimate. The emails look legitimate.
That's so scary. Because, people can lose a ton of money.
Yeah. We had a guy in Tennessee that got arrested, put in prison. He had stolen like several $1 million from elderly people, like sending these fake wire instructions, and finally got caught.
Wow.
And my brother-in-law works in the FBI, and he'll tell you right now, like, it's gone.
Yeah, well, because they scatter it, right? Don't they hit it and then they put it into like several different bank accounts and just can't get it out?
Yeah.
Crazy. All right. What's the worst reason a client wanted to pull out of a deal? Okay.
Mine was, I already told that one.
Yeah, you did. Okay. So I have one.
Mine was the turn left out of the neighborhood one. That was dumb.
I have one. So I had a seller. So I had the buyers. There was a listing agent. I had a seller, and that seller decided not to sell. They're like, I don't want to buy a house.
Yeah.
Or he's like, I haven't found a house I want to live in. And that seller, it ended up becoming a massive deal, like legal, like it was bad because it was failure to perform.
Yeah.
So so it's like specific performance. Like you can't, like as a seller, you can't just be like, sorry, I don't want to sell.
If you're through the contingency periods and if you're the seller, even if you're not, like,
and it ended up costing a ton of money to settle this deal. And that's what a lot of agents don't understand is they go, oh, well, just the earnest money, right?
No.
Nope. The earnest money is just good faith money. There is like, you can sue somebody for specific performance, or failure to perform on a contract, and you can recover damages. So the earnest money is like, I don't want to say it's irrelevant. It's just sort of, that has nothing to do. Earnest money is just good faith money.
Yeah.
But it's not the money that's due one party or the other if they don't perform in the contract.
Yeah. I mean, it may just be just the earnest money.
Sure.
Like maybe everybody agrees to that.
Sure.
But we're in such a litigious like society now. Yeah. Like I would not be surprised if it was not just that.
Yeah, it was a crazy situation. It was super stressful because, I didn't know what was going to happen at the time.
We out?
Yeah, we're done. That was the last question. But I didn't know what was going to happen at the time. It was like now being on the other side of these things, like there's very little that scares me anymore. What I would tell agents, because a lot of agents out there, they're like, oh, I don't want to ever have to get a lawsuit. I don't want to ever have to go through this or that or whatever. It's like, as a part of your career as a real estate agent, you're going to encounter really difficult scenarios.
Yeah.
And it's you surviving them, making them through it that makes you a good agent. So it's part of the process.
Yeah.
Right. All these things, it's like, that we were telling you about today is like, that's a 17-year career in real estate for me and 17 for you probably too.
Yeah.
Right?
It's a rite of passage.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to hear all kinds of stuff as silly as my clients keep banging their heads on dining room chandeliers because there's no table there sometimes. And so you'll run right into the chandelier, just stuff like that, all the way up to, you've got a crazy room on your hands. Like there's and everything in between. And you're going to see so many things going in people's personal homes that, at some point, nothing's going to scare you anymore. And honestly, it's mostly about problem solving. Usually these problems have a solution and you work through it.
Yeah, if I could tell anything to my younger self, I was like, it's going to be fine. It'll work out. The things that I thought were just like, this is the worst thing I could imagine. Once you kind of get through them, it's really not as bad as I thought it was going to be. So most of the stuff I worried about really wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
So keep your head up, keep moving forward. Anything else?
Nope.
All right. You guys have a great week. We'll see you next week. Thanks.
Bye.